Good morning, a very warm welcome. My name is Lisa Daisel. I'm from the Unisa Directorate for Counselling and Career Development. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. I have apologized. Our presenter has just run into some technical problems, but he will be joining us soon. So what I thought we could do is that we could just start the workshop by doing the announcements that we normally do at the end of the workshop. And then I am sure that he'll be able to join us after that. So let me just get my presentation ready. Okay, so just in terms of the session, you would have noticed that as you enter Teams, your camera and your microphone is switched off. What we will do is that after the presentation, we will then open the microphones. So as you are listening to the presentation, you're welcome to post any questions you have or comments in the chat. But we will also have a live Q&A session after the presentation. Then we just ask you in the chat, please don't share any personal information. So that includes, for example, your telephone number, your Gmail address, since we just want to protect your privacy. Okay, so in terms of our program, I'm doing the welcome now, and I'll also do the announcements while we're waiting for the presenter. Our topic for today is networking for career growth. And I just want to thank those of you, as you were registering for the workshop, you shared some questions with us. So we will be taking a look at attending to those questions. Then Mr. Amos Kova is joining us. He's our presenter for Networking for Career Growth. And then at the end of his presentation, we'll make some time for the question and answer session, and then just have a quick end off and share the thank you with you. Okay, so just in terms of announcements, there is a Grad Next book that is available free of charge online. You can download the book. It's got a lot of information about managing money, personal branding, preparing for interviews, how to look for jobs, starting your own business, writing CVs and cover letters. So we really encourage you to go and take a look at this book, which, as I said, is free of charge, and you can download it using the link on the website. Okay, and then I will share our contact details again with you. We are hoping that your interaction today won't be the last time that we will interact with you. We will also share our contact details with you so that you can connect with us at any time if you need to consult. And then as you found the information for this workshop on the My Unisa events calendar, also just go and check online for the updated announcements regarding the career talks that we've arranged. On Thursday, we're having a talk about using LinkedIn to ignite your career development. So we are also looking forward to welcoming you at that session. Okay, I just want to check. I think our presenter has joined us. So if you'll just excuse me for a minute, then we can just welcome him as well. Amos, thank you. I see that you've joined us. Okay, so before you start, I've done the announcements. So I would just like to formally welcome you to the session. This is not the first time that you've joined us. So we are very much looking forward to welcome you again today. So for those of you who are attending, Mr. Kova is the Operations Director at Global Talent Solutions. He's also the founder of Sapna and Amava Talent and a specialist in youth development. He has worked in various corporate organizations, including SAICA, SEMA, and Nedbank, as a young talent specialist, as well as a project manager. He also holds several qualifications from business schools, including an MBA. Thank you very much, Amos, and you're welcome to start with your presentation.
Thank you very much, Liz. I appreciate this opportunity. I think I would firstly like to start by expressing my appreciation at the opportunity to empower students. I myself am still a student for my sins. I'm still fiddling with a PhD proposal. I don't know why we do these things to ourselves, but yeah, I'm very excited to have this session with your students on networking for career growth. I did a similar presentation last year. We have adapted and changed it a bit this year to focus more on the link between your ability to network well and your career growth. Just for interest's sake, to mention, my master's research was actually on the impact of workplace readiness programs on improving employability for South African youth. Okay, so I'm going to start by firstly just dealing with a couple of household issues. Please feel free to engage at any point. I do not want to have a monologue. I believe that students have a lot of experience and knowledge, and students are very curious creatures and beings as well. So feel free to raise your hand. I think as we did last year, Lisa, we can pause whenever you have a set of questions you want to field, because I think it's important to have a conversation and engage each other throughout the session as I present my learning material.
Thank you very much. So just to reiterate for those who are attending in Teams, you can just raise your hand, and then we will be able to unmute your mic so that you can ask your question.
Perfect. Awesome. I'm going to start off by firstly sharing some information around networking. The topic that I've been asked to deal with or to talk about is networking for career growth. In other words, that when you network, there needs to be a clear intent that you want the networking to impact your career. So depending on how you go about it, like anything in life, there's always pros and cons. There's always a positive and a negative. If we do it well, it will have a good and positive impact on your career. If you don't do it or you do it negatively, it will obviously have a negative impact on your career. So firstly, networking is interaction with others to exchange information and develop professional or social contacts. So you cannot go through your career where you don't form meaningful interactions and exchange information with other people, especially if you want to grow and develop professionally. So social media has become more important now since COVID. So whereas before COVID, we would only physically attend networking events, it is also important now for you to establish a social network, a footprint, people that you can engage, put yourself out there socially in terms of the social networks. It involves establishing relationships with people who will often become your friends and community of colleagues as you grow in your career. We grow and we learn by watching, observing others, following others, reading what others share, and having trusted friends around you who will hold you accountable and honest. People who surround themselves with people who are simply agreeing with everything they do without critiquing, questioning, and giving input are often not the greatest leaders. They get used to calling the shots. They get into the state where they believe that they know everything. They can do everything and anything on their own. So it's really very important for you to network in such a way that you find your own tribe, people who think similar, people who have similar aspirations, and people who inspire you. You know, there's a saying that says, "Iron sharpens iron." So to stay sharp and on point, you need other people who keep you on your toes and honest. It's not just a matter of collecting business cards. A lot of people don't even have business cards anymore, but it's a deliberate action of looking for useful relationships. So there's a very clear intentional part to networking that we should never downplay or overlook. You must be clear as to who you want to network with, who you're looking for, where are the areas of growth in your life where you need certain people to plug in those gaps and those holes and your blind spots, as well as your weaknesses as a leader. That's why the greatest leaders, whether politically or in business, are good at finding the right talent to surround them. It's also engaging via social media by sharing articles and research. I will talk later about social presence. It's very important to engage people through social media. It's also about finding out about your competition or competitors. It also provides access to mentors and networks of like-minded professionals. There's another saying that says, birds of the same feather flock together. Show me your friends and I'll tell you your worth. The kind of people that you hang out with, that you associate with, is very important, because things they do and say rub off on you and vice versa. And you learn certain things from them. And then diversity is critical when it comes to networking. I have a big issue with people who will only network with people of the same race and gender, and maybe career background as well. How are you going to grow? How are you going to expand your horizon, your thinking, your level of influence, if you don't go outside of your comfort zone and what you are used to? So once again, be intentional. Find people that are different, people that will open up other ways of doing things or thinking. Why is networking important for you right now, and why is it important for your career? So firstly, networking gives you access to opportunities. We all need jobs after studying, to start a career. For others, it's just simply a matter of earning an income to sustain themselves, to support their families. For others, it's more than that. You're looking for partnerships, people that you can collaborate with, people that can mentor you. And as you become maturer, as you grow up in your career and you gain experience, you become the one that mentors others. It's also about potential clients or customers. When you start your career, your employer expects of you to have a network that you can tap into, where you can find clients, customers, users of your product, etc. Number two, it's also about learning and growth. Learning and growing, most importantly, based on other people's experiences, insights into different industries or roles, observing industry trends, as well as best practice. Number 3, it's about meeting new people and forming useful connections. Emphasis on new people. There is no way that you can go through a high school career, or let's go back to primary school. Primary school, same circle of friends, into high school. Varsity, same people that were with you, primary school, high school, varsity, world of work. Maybe you branch out into starting your own business. It is very unusual and rare. As you move into different spaces of your life or spheres, you are likely to form new circles of friends, new bonds, new people that are relevant to you. So always be observant of your ability to form new friends. The quicker you can do it, the better you can do it. It will serve you well. And then the emphasis is also on useful connections. When it comes to your career, guys, and to your personal development, you need to be selfish. If people don't add value in your life, the call is yours to make as to what you do, how you go about it. But do yourself a favor. Do not spend time drag along people that are dragging you down, that are not motivating you, that are not adding value and improving your life. You'll decide how you go about it. And then when it comes to support and guidance, you need a support system of like-minded professionals for advice, encouragement throughout your career. I think I've alluded to the fact that it's important to surround yourself with people that add value. There will come very tough and difficult times in your career, either where you have to make career decisions. Do I leave this job that I like? Do I sacrifice money? Do I go with friends? Do I go into a different industry to expand my knowledge? You know, there's all of these decisions that you need to make. You need people around you that have knowledge, that have wisdom, that have been through what you've been through. And you can use their experiences to help your decision-making process. You will come across challenges where you've got issues around victimization at work, you struggling with a boss that, you know, that is not kind and nice to you, you've got a colleague that's horrible. Where do you get the advice and tips from on how to maneuver these things? I often say to people who have careers in sport, there'll always be ups and downs. There'll be times where you are struggling with your own personal motivation, where you are not performing well. You need those people around you that will pull you through, drag you, support you, encourage you. Sometimes just give you space. Sometimes you don't want people to preach to you. They need to be around and just give you space and allow you to be you. Any questions at this point?
I don't see any hands for now. If there's anybody who would want to ask a question, you're welcome to let us know by just raising your hand.
Thank you. No questions from me. I shall carry on.
Amos, maybe before you carry on, there was a question from somebody before the workshop.
Sure.
They were just wondering, I'm not sure if you are going to cover it, but when do you start networking? So let's say, for example, you know, a first year student, is it useless for you to network? Do you only do it in your final year? So when does this networking process start?
Absolutely. Sorry, guys, I'm recovering from a very hectic flu that I had for 2 weeks. So if I mute sometimes, it's because I feel like sneezing or something. So let me just get back to the slides, but I can quickly respond to that question. So when do you start networking? I think at this stage, you should have well and truly started networking. The thing with networking is that it starts very early in our life. Networking is not only a career objective. Let's think about this, and often we overlook this. When you make friends at primary school as well as high school, what are you doing? You're networking, right? You're building a network. You have a network of friends or people that do similar, if not the same stuff as you. I like to make examples of my own kids because I've got 3 kids. One is in high school now. And I often encourage them to network outside of their main sports. So they play cricket, and outside of cricket season, I encourage them to go and join drama or the band at school or soccer. That's exactly what you're doing. You are building your network. You're networking. You're meeting new people. So for you, where you are now as a student, yeah, you should have started at first year. You are doing it, but I think you just need to be intentional about it. So to then link it to career growth, it's towards the end of your career when you're ready to transition into the place of work. Then you're networking intentionally to meet the right people for your career. So, get to know people that write articles about career development, what you aspire to be in, the businesses that you want to be in. Meet the leaders, observe and follow the leaders of the companies you want to be in. So I hope that answers your question.
That covers it well. Thanks, Amos.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm going to proceed and share a very important exercise that I really encourage students to do. Just excuse me 1 second. Sorry. Okay, so I think it's very important for you to do a self-assessment on your current networking ability or skills. The reason why I encourage this is because sometimes before you build a skill, you need to understand what you're capable of, what you have in your bag, what you're naturally gifted at, in order for you to determine where you need to grow to. So I encourage students to do a self-assessment of their own networking skills as today, right now. We're not talking about aspirational where you want to be. So how satisfied are you with your current networking skills? If you had to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being very unsatisfied or dissatisfied, 2 being unsatisfied, 3 being neutral or neither here nor there, number 5 being satisfied, number 4 being satisfied, and number 5 being very satisfied. Where do you sit on the scale? Are you a 1 or are you a 5? Do you just want to pause for a second and think about your own networking skills and just give me a number? I'll give you a couple of seconds to do that.
You can post your number in the chat, or you're also welcome to raise your hand and report the number.
Thank you.
We've got a 3, we've got a 1 so far.
Perfect.
Also another 3. We've got a hand. Let me just open the microphone. Sina, you're welcome to unmute. Okay, Sina disappeared.
Oh wow, are we that scary?
Yeah.
Okay, so
It
we've got
looks
Hello.
like we've got mostly
Afternoon,
threes.
everyone.
Oh, hi,
Hi,
Sina.
Sina.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm just struggling to type. It doesn't allow me to type. I don't know why, but I would
It's
say
okay.
a 1 because I don't know. I'm not into social media. Maybe I struggle because I'm a person who's excessively talkative about whatever. And sometimes, even though I meet people, then I ask myself, am I not too much? When do I
Yeah,
draw the boundary? And then, and I'm also not a person of friends. So I struggle to maintain the relationship to say, I can't check up every day on you. You know, a month, a year can pass, but when I need something or when I want to ask something, I would expect you to be available as much as I would also be available. But later on, then you also ask, are you not burdening this person? Because even with my career at the workplace, somebody would say, if you need help, this department will help you. But when you go there, they're not there, they're too busy. Then you ask yourself, but I can't constantly be coming to you and you being busy. It feels as if I'm crowding the person, then I just disappear. And so
yeah,
I think I'm
yeah.
struggling with that.
Sina, thank you very much. What you're raising is critical. Um, we tend to want to treat people or networking the same way we want to be treated. Because you're a quiet person who doesn't make friends, the minute you check regularly on someone or follow up regularly, you yourself become uncomfortable because you feel it's too much. Had the roles been reversed, you would have felt uncomfortable. So I would say with networking though is yes, you need to strike a fine balance. You don't want to put people off because you are too much. And we've all had friends or people like that you run away from them. You don't take their calls, or you avoid them and you speak to them when it's convenient. So my advice is that read the person that you're trying to establish a relationship or a network with, see what they're comfortable with, or if it's a formalized relationship, you can even ask them, you know, what are you comfortable with? How often do you want us to chat? How do you prefer that we meet? Virtually, face to face? If they're open enough and mature enough, they will tell you. But we will come back because I think it would be great for you to move from a 1 to a 3 or a 4, just so that you have a level of confidence in your own ability to network. Awesome. So what I will say is that for those who are a 1 to a 3, set yourself a challenge to aspire to become above 3 for your own benefit. Now that you understand the importance of networking for your career, for your growth and your development, I think you should start setting yourself targets and goals. But firstly, look at reasons why you are a 1. You might be a 1, like Sino said, because she's an introvert. You could be a 1 or a 2 because you are naturally shy, you don't like people, or maybe you have not been exposed to sufficient networking opportunities. And whatever that reason is why you are a 1, work on it. Either find more opportunities, go out more, look for networking platforms. The more you attend these things, the freer that you become, the more you become free and confident. And you're like, okay, I can actually do this. It's fun. I'm watching other people. It's all about practice. Or you then become more specific and say, okay, I'm attending a lot of these events, but the problem is opening my mouth to go and talk to people. I run a networking association called SEBNA, South African Professional Network Association. This is our 10th year, and we had an event last month in Cape Town. And some of the student volunteers we had there asked me afterwards, how do you work the floor? How is it possible for you to naturally go around the room and speak to anyone and everyone? And it comes with years of practice. The more I do it, the more comfortable I am. Whether you are CEO of a company, whether you are first-year student, you know, that's irrelevant to me. And I think it's also supported by a genuine interest in people. You must have something that you like about people, in people, or a curiosity in order for you to network easily. Okay, I'm going to move on from here. I think my parting shot on that is that know where you are in terms of your current networking skills. Find a plan to improve and get better at it. Now, I'm going to talk about first impressions and networking and give you a couple of tips on how sometimes you get one shot to meet an important person to form the right impression about yourself. I'm just waiting for my computer to respond. Okay, so research is very important. If you're going to an event and you know who's going to be there, because technology is quite advanced now, you are able to look at an event that you're going to go to. You will know who's going to be there, who are the keynote speakers, who are the panel discussions, and if there's a specific person that you are targeting to meet and engage with and form a long network with, it's important for you to do your research, either about the person or the company, their role, what they share in terms of information professionally. Number two, if it's a company, it's equally important to know the key information about the company. What is their share price? Are they listed on the JSE? What are the key projects they're working on? And a lot of this information you can find on the website or on the company's annual reports. Know who the leaders are. So just basic information. Do research on people that will interview or that you will engage with, whether it's a radio interview or a job, etc. Because especially early on in your career, the fact that you get interviewed for a role, though you might only stay 3 years, you don't want to burn those bridges. You never know. 10 years later, 20 years later, you might end up with the same leader in a different company or with the same company. So it's important for you to make that a good first impression. Be aware of your social media activities. Social media is critical in terms of people finding you. If I'm interested in hiring Sino, let's say, as my head of communications, I will go to LinkedIn. I will go to Twitter, Facebook, and see what Sino is posting. What kind of person is she? Where does she hang out? Am I going to hire a person that posts being in the club every weekend, hanging out with friends, drinking? And I'm not judging. I'm not saying any of that is wrong. But I'm just saying, for my corporate brand and culture, will Sino be the right fit based on what she posts on social media? That's a question that you need to ask yourself. The flip side of that is, if Sino is attending events, networking events, if Sino is speaking as a thought leader, sharing research, doing all the positive things that want young professionals to follow her, etc. That's the kind of person that I want to be associated with my brand. So the call is really yours. Follow industry relevant groups, share professional articles. Once you've engaged someone, whether it's through an interview or at a networking event, and you've exchanged details, use those details. Within 48 hours, I would say, send a thank you note. If you met an important person, CEO of a bank or, a consulting company, etc., where you aspire to be, use the details. Often we collect details of people and we don't know what to do with it. Just drop a thank you note email. Dear so-and-so, we met at the event last night. I just want to thank you for taking the time to discuss and engage. I will be in contact, whatever you want to say, so that that person remembers you. Next time you bump into them, you don't start from scratch. Also be polite and stay in contact, even if you are not offered a job or even if there's nothing immediately you can share out of the engagement. When you introduce yourself, and I'll cover this under personal branding just now, it's important for you to do a clear and good introduction of yourself. Conversations are like a body. It needs a strong head, a strong body, and a strong tail or feet. People will remember how you started, your opening lines. Some guys who are flirty will tell you the conversation openers are critical. People remember that. And people remember what you spoke about, and they also remember how you ended the conversation, what you left them with. Always be confident. Remember, your engagement or your discussion starts before the verbal. There's a lot of non-verbal. By the time I approach you, you form an impression of me. You kind of judge me, you suss me out. So from the minute I open my mouth, I make eye contact, I shake hands, the way I smile and chat, that is all impressions that I'm leaving. You also need to be relevant in terms of your look and what you chat about, how you're going to network at an office event versus a social and a family event are very different things. You don't want to be that guy at a social event that's talking about work, or at a family event, you boring people about serious stuff. So understand the environment, the event that you're at, and fit in from looks and conversation and how chilled you are. And in some families or social events, it's okay to grab a beer and chill. In the office, it might not be okay. You also need to be genuine and show interest in people. People can tell whether you are really networking and engaging with them. If I'm busy talking to you and my eyes are everywhere, I'm listening to other things, looking at other things, thinking of an answer, formulating an answer while you're talking. Those are all things that are distractive, and you will walk away saying, but Amos, he was not present, So make sure that you are fully present. My tip is that I always try and remember two things about a person, one in their personal life, one in their career. And I keep it very simple. Because I have kids, the common discussion for me is, if you have kids, I try and remember something about your kids. Maybe how many kids do you have? Do you have 7 kids or 1 child? Do you have kids that are of the similar age? Do they play any sports that my kids play? And then career-wise, what do you do? Where do you work? What's your profession? Those things make it easy for you to open conversation the next time I bump into you. You don't want an awkward situation where you've met someone, then you bump into the person unexpectedly at the airport or somewhere, and there's nothing to talk about. People really get a fuzzy, warm feeling when you bump into someone and they say, hey, how's it, Sino? Sorry, Sino, I'm going to keep using your name because I can't remember anyone else's name.
Okay.
Hi, Sino, how are you? How's your son, by the way? Or how's your cat? Or How's it going with your hobby? You know, the chess or the games that you play, whatever it is, find something. That's how you build a rapport with people. Also, do not interrupt conversation. Make sure you listen, you allow people to speak, and then you respond. If you are unlucky and you're stuck with those people that talk without breathing and pausing for sentences and not stopping, then unfortunately you need a very polite and smart way of interrupting, because you don't want to spend the whole night looking into one person's eyes and only talking to them. You know, find a way of either saying, you know what, it's so great talking to you. I can see you passionate about this. Let's catch up later. And you move yourself out of it. Or you excuse yourself, you want to go to the bathroom, or say, you know what, hold that thought. Let me just, you know, take a call or make a call. I'll come back, we'll reconnect. Find smart ways of, you know, breaking the conversation. You might be surprised as to why I've got this up here, but learn to listen. Listening is a skill. Active listening is a skill. When you listen with your entire body, with your eyes, your ears, your, you know, your body language, and you listen attentively. And if you listen well, people will not feel the need to carry on and on, or to repeat or rephrase for the point that they're trying to make to land. So make it easy for that person. Let them feel that you've listened so that the conversation can move on. And then conclude with a thank you. It was great meeting you. That's how you end the conversation. And then I think we spoke about the importance of following up. I'm going to move straight on to a couple of slides around your network. What you need to do with your network is that you need to dissect it and segment it. You need to have people in a lot of these segments of your network. Have important people in your family. We all have those family members, bless their souls, that you can't rely on. That's okay. But identify good people in the family that you can go to with situations, issues, problems, and challenges. Similarly, so with your friends. Find friends that you can have meaningful, fruitful discussions with. There will be those ones that are lightweights that you just hang with for the sake of hanging out. Then your significant other or others, it's really your call. It's a free world. Make sure that you have good and meaningful relationships and a network when it comes to your significant others. Then you've got schools and friends from school. At varsity, it would be faculty and staff members and alumni, past and present co-workers, neighbors, clubs, organizations, people that you meet randomly at the gym, coffee shop, groceries, stores, and then people from church, if you go to church, or, you know, sport, whatever, people that you cycle, run with, etc. Always ask yourself, how many people do you know? Because your network is important. What is it that you need from those different people? How do you network with them with intent? So next time you end up with the guys at the club, you might find that a lot of them are in similar careers. Your neighbors, you never know. You could have somebody who's very influential. I personally am a lot more interested in people older than me. I find a lot of value, sorry. I have a couple of business associates who are in their 70s. Those people come with serious connections, serious wisdom, and that's you need that in your career as well. Moving along, then understand the value of your network. Who adds value in your network? If you cannot say that somebody adds value in your network, think twice about them. You need people that will add value in your personal life, in your relationship or relationships. You need people that will add value as a coach, as a mentor, business partner, bigger brother and sister. Guys, this one is very important. When you enter the corporate world, you need a bigger sister or a brother in the company that you at. Somebody that you can call and say, so and so, can we have coffee this week, please? And you sit down and you say to them, look, I'm struggling to settle in. I'm struggling to fit in. How did you do it? How do I go about this? And more often than not, it should be somebody who's more experienced and more senior. You can get tips. That's how you go about it. Some people will open doors in your life, in your career, in your business, etc. Some people will be consumers of your product or service, and other people could be future employers. Last slide on this one is how you manage your network. Maintain contact at all times. I think we've touched on that. I'm trying to exit the presentation mode, but my slides are frozen. But it's fine. I will continue. Apologies. Maintain contact, number one. Make time for catch-ups or coffees. Informal coffees are very important. People are busy. They can't always have a lunch or a dinner or a breakfast with you. If you are in the same building as people that you want to build network with, just drop them an email and say, are you available for a coffee? 20 minutes is more than enough, because they mustn't feel that this thing is too stiff and serious, and there mustn't be always a notepad, where you're writing stuff. Apologies. Sometimes it must just be a quick catch up. Share relevant articles with people. Know your next career move and start building the right networks. You should think 5 years ahead in terms of your career. Right now, what are the skills that I need that I'm building? For the next growth phase, where do I need to be? How do I position myself now? What are the development areas that will get me there? And based on that, you find the right people that will get you there. Introduce people that have common interests. That's something that I'm personally passionate about. Because I network, I have a network association, and I do so many different things, businesses, etc. It comes natural for me to meet people, see synergies, introduce people. One of the businesses that I run is we do business transactions by simply facilitating supply and need, finance based on our networks and what people are looking for. Don't ask for something before you can offer something. So make sure that you add value, you offer something first, and then you can go and ask people for stuff. Relationships take time. You should know that by now. So build the relationship slowly over time. The longer you know someone, the more they trust you, the more they understand you, the more they know how you tick as well, the more they become comfortable with you, so that when they need you, they pick up the phone and ask you something. If we have a brand new relationship, I'm not going to feel comfortable to pick up the phone and run something past you. And then also be kind, be clear on what you want. That's it. Any questions before I move into the last part of the presentation?
We've got 2 questions, Amos. Physically managed to post his question in the chat, and then also Jabulile.
Awesome.
So physically is asking how to maintain a newly built relationship after a seminar or an exhibition. For example, I'm currently doing an internship with a mine. if I've networked with a CEO for another company, it then becomes difficult to start conversations post acknowledging each other. So how to maintain the relationships, from chance meetings, for example.
Awesome. Thank
And
you.
then Jabulile is asking about how can one establish a professional digital footprint that can be of an advantage for employability.
Awesome. Thank you. I've noted the questions. I'm just worried that my machine is, oh, there we go. I've been wanting to blow my nose, but I couldn't get out of the presentation mode. So just give me 1 second, please.
You're welcome.
Sorry about that. Gosh, our life since COVID. I had COVID 4 times during COVID.
Wow.
And yeah. Let me start with the first question. Was it Jabulile who asked the first question?
That was Fisukule, and then Jabulile is the first of the second one.
Okay. So on the first question, how do you maintain a relationship after meeting someone at a networking event? And I think the scenario there was that, let's say you've met the CEO of another mine at an event and you've acknowledged, the network. Is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So do not feel bad for meeting and networking and engaging people who are deemed to be your competition. Because you can never put all your eggs into one basket. We don't have crystal balls. We don't know the future. You could be retrenched within 6 months of meeting that person. And the impression that you could have made on that person and the way you've managed the relationship could become your saving grace, where you literally send an email or pick up the phone and say, I've just been retrenched. And that person could be your next boss or your next employer. If there are dynamics and politics, which there are in many industries, you just need to be discreet about it. If you don't want to openly follow and support the person on social media, just think about those dynamics. So I think you need to apply wisdom and maturity when it comes to that. Please remind me of the second question, if you don't mind. Lisa.
Jabulile was asking about establishing a professional digital footprint
Yes.
that can be of an advantage for employability.
Yes, thank you so much. Excellent question, Jabulile. Yes, it is important for you to have a good digital footprint. Remember, these days, a lot of employers, when they want to offer you a job, will look at your digital footprint. What are you posting? What are you sharing? How are you coming across? There was an article that I commented on, I think it was last week on LinkedIn, about some HR leader who was dismissed because of poor decisions they took. And people have become very, very vocal about these things. So be careful also how you respond. You don't want to be seen to be throwing people under the bus, fueling fire. Rather take a neutral support on certain things and offer more your personal experience, the learnings out of it, etc. So it is important to have a digital footprint. It is concerning to an employer when you don't have a digital footprint. It's almost as if you're trying to hide something, Maybe you were dismissed at your previous job. Maybe you killed your ex-boss. You know, that's a bit extreme. But maybe you're running away from something. So make sure, even if you have an unfortunate incident where you get dismissed in your job, make sure that you cover up that period of inactivity. Sorry, there are smart ways of doing it, guys. I'm not saying that you should become a liar, but think professionally and smart about how you explain inactivity and how you can show that, you know, you didn't go AWOL or you were not in prison and that kind of stuff. I hope that answers your question. I'm looking at the time. I just want to conclude. I'm left with 2 slides. Lisa, can you see my presentation?
Yes, thank you, Amos.
Awesome. One of the critical things when it comes to networking is about building your personal brand. Sorry. Now, your personal brand is particularly important to you as you enter the world of work. So what I want to share here is that in order for you to know your personal brand, firstly, you need to identify your own strengths. You need to know what you're good at. What are the skills that you have that you bring to the table? How are you unique, which will determine your unique value proposition. And you need to learn how to effectively communicate these aspects of yourself to other people. So again, tying back into the networking, the way you view yourself, the way you see yourself, and the way you believe you are, and the unique skill sets that you have. Are you able to verbalize that? Are you able to bring that across so that if I've met with you, I can see what you're good at? You can tell me what skills you have, etc. So my slides are okay. So how do you build that personal brand? Number one, when it comes to your unique value proposition, firstly, you need to identify your strengths, like I said. Look at your skills and your expertise. Number two, ask yourself, what is it that sets you apart from others? Guys, this is the other reality that we need to accept. When you graduate from varsity, you're one of tens of thousands of people with exactly the same qualification. On paper, to an employer, you are exactly the same as the others. However, when you start engaging and you get to the interview, what is it that sets you apart, that makes you different from others? And then thirdly, what skills do you bring to the table? In order for you to answer that question fully, you need to understand what is it that the company needs of you. What company, what employee you're dealing with, what are their challenges? What is it that they need? What is it that you bring to close that gap? So number one, identify your unique value proposition by following those steps that I've just mentioned. Number two, online presence. Surprise, surprise. The way you present yourself online is extremely important. People will decide, we want this person or we don't, just based on your online presence. And then share your expertise. If you look at somebody's LinkedIn profile, you should see something about what they're passionate about, what they're sharing, what they're good at, etc. And then number four, most importantly, be authentic. People resonate with others simply because they are authentic. If you're a fake, people can see right through you. If you're trying to portray something that you're not, it will catch up with you because you can only do it for that long, if that makes sense. And then the last one, number 5, make sure that you evolve, you adapt to life and conditions and growth of your career and demands. And then also you need to upskill yourself. You can't be in the same job with the same skills, with the same people, same abilities 10, 15 years down the line. Find what you need to do to upskill yourself to remain relevant. That's what attracts employers, employers to you. That is the end of my presentation. I'm happy to take a few questions at this point.
Thank you very much, Amos. While I'm giving to those who are attending just a chance to put up their hands if they have any questions. We also just had a question before the workshop about the role of professional bodies. So just to give an example, if you are studying to become, let's say, an economist and there's a professional body related to your field, what could the role of belonging to these professional bodies as a student member be, in terms of networking?
Thank you so much for that, Lisa. So the role that professional bodies play is absolutely critical in your career and your development. What professional bodies do is that they validate your qualification, your expertise, and they confirm what you know as a professional. So it's important for you to maintain your membership and be in good standing by paying your membership fee, adhering to the rules and regulations, because the minute we've seen stories on the news of people that get disbarred, either as a lawyer or a CA, more often than not, once you get disbarred, it is impossible for you to earn a living because you've put so much effort into earning that qualification. Either went to university for 7 years, you did your articles, you qualified, you built up work experience. So it's something that you need to cherish and protect. They're important, but not everybody belongs in a professional body. People are out there, doing well in careers where professional bodies are not needed. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Amos. That makes sense. I just want to ask those of you who are attending, you are free to raise your hand if you have any questions. There are no more questions in the chat. Remember also, as you are attending these kind of events, it's also your opportunity to, in a relatively safe space, practice these skills that Amos has been sharing with you in terms of networking. So please also feel free to make use of the opportunity. Amos, I just want to come back to when you spoke about connecting with people or a diverse group of people, people outside of your field even, or your, the normal people that you would connect with. But what I also just want to, so I appreciated that comment because that's often, challenges that we stick to what we know. So really kind of challenging yourself and really seeing any opportunity where you are able to engage professionally with people as a networking opportunity. But then also taking care that as you are engaging with networking activities, that you also be aware of and you think about your contribution as a professional in this field. Because networking is not a one-way transaction. You know, it's not about you just kind of, utilizing people in your network, but also thinking about how you can give back to people in your network. So I think that's also an important point to keep in mind.
Very true. Thank you so much for that contribution, Lisa. So I think our diversity, one thing that we've learned through sport, especially rugby, those of you who are passionate and who've been following the Springboks, there is no better example in our country in terms of using diversity, leveraging diversity to your strength. I'm a lot into sport, and not only rugby, but cricket and other sports as well. But rugby is such a beautiful example. If you look at how the leaders and coaches were able to pull people from all corners of the country with different strengths and levels of tenacity and conviction, and put up a world-class team that is almost, that you can't compare to anything in the world. So diversity is very important in terms of you being a well-rounded person. If you go into the corporate world with the aim of just sticking to your own people that grew up with you, whether you grew up eKasi or in the township or wherever, it's a safe space to be in, but you're not going to grow and develop and become a seasoned, well-rounded person if you don't challenge yourself to engage with different people and other people. And then also giving back is important. I mean, when I get this call from Unisa every year, I was telling friends of mine who say that they don't have time. And I'm like, dude, 2 hours out of your entire year, what are you losing? Are you really losing money? Surely you are senior enough to arrange so that whatever clients you were supposed to see now in these 2 hours, you can see them later or next week or yesterday. So we need to have that mentality as students as well. As we grow up, and even right now, what are you doing to give back to others? It can't just be a want, me kind of scenario where we want others to give, but we're not giving anything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amos. Okay, last question from my side. On one of your slides, you talked about, leveraging your network for mentoring opportunities. So I'm just wondering if you could share a bit more, as you are going and you're meeting people and you're growing your network, how does one start negotiating that kind of more formal mentoring relationship? If you've got any tips for us about that.
Awesome. So my take on mentorship, Lisa, is always that there are so many good people out there. There are so many people that do what you do so much better. That's always the base or the starting point for me. There are so many people who are more talented, gifted, wiser, and who have walked the road before you. So from that premise, then you go and identify those people that you can learn from, those people that can add value. And it's as simple as finding the company. If it's a senior person, we all know that every CEO has a PA. There's no way you can be a proper CEO and not have a PA. So you start with the PA. You send an email, you send a request. Is Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so available? I would love to have mentorship discussions. Now, that can only go one of two ways. It's either the kind of person who's not into it, or somebody who is very structured and organized, and they will give you an hour a year kind of thing. I've had so many mentors in my life, ranging from the ex-chairman of Nedbank, Dr. Ruel Koza, Mr. JJ Njeke, so many people. And all you do is that you need to find a meeting place with them. For instance, one guy that I'm not going to mention, who's a property developer, the only way I could gain access to him is via his sister and through the club where he was playing soccer. So you need to be smart about it. If you can't find time in the diary at work, maybe if you know what church they go to, what sport they play, that could be an opportunity for you to meet them casually. So I would say identify people that will add value, then hunt them down. It's as simple as that. And you need to be resilient, guys. If out of the 10 people you are looking for, the first 5 are saying no, keep going, grow your list, add another 20. There's no easy way about it. Unfortunately, some people are very selfish with their time. As much as you admire them, they might just not be interested in meeting you because they don't need you. It's a matter of you needing them. So continue identifying, looking for people, and approach them, in different ways. PAs are very powerful individuals. One thing I've learned in my career is that if you want access to the right CEOs and top people, build relationships with PAs. Get to know them, make time for them, build a rapport. If my PA knows you personally and they like you and they think it's a relationship worth having, they will find time in my diary. It's as simple as that. But if you are a nuisance and you're arrogant, they don't like you, you will never meet that person. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much, Amos. But I think also, what you spoke about, preparing for these kind of conversations or relationships that you wish to build, and really being clear about what your needs are so that you're able to communicate those to others. And again, coming back to this relationship that needs to be, back and forth. So it's not about just connecting with thousands of people, but not really being intentional about how you are hoping that these network connections will help you in your career development. Amos, from my side, thank you very much. I've really, as usual, enjoyed, listening to the presentation. I also appreciate that you took time out of your very busy schedule and also not feeling 100% in terms of your health. So thank you for that investment. And I also want to thank our students who've attended and your questions that you sent beforehand, but also now asking on the platform. So to end off our session formally, I'm just going to ask my colleague, Becky Mzobe, if you could just end off the session for us. Before Becky speaks, I posted a link to our next career talk, which is on Thursday this week. And on Thursday, we'll be focusing on igniting career opportunities with LinkedIn. So everything that you wanted to know about building your personal brand on LinkedIn. So we are also looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for this opportunity to give a vote of thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. I start by thanking our guest speaker, Mr. Amos Kova, for helping us to unpack today's topic, focusing on networking for career growth. Thank you for such an interactive, engaging, and informative presentation. I think your presentation helped us to realize the power of networking in unlocking opportunities in general, not only for career growth, career opportunities, but these skills, they can also be used in business. Thank you so much, Mr. Kova.
Thank you, sir.
I further thank colleagues, Mama Kanya and Lisa Daisel for another successful event. Thank you, colleagues. I would like also to thank students for attending and participating in this event by asking questions. Thank you. I end by thanking everyone who participated and made this event a success. I thank you all. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys. All the best. Let's link up on LinkedIn.
Thank you very much, Amos.
Thanks, Lisa. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.